Yeah, I used to serve on the board of Binance, so I know what I'm talking about. So guys, think. Don't invest in things you cannot understand.
This first part is about mindset reprogramming. Before God gives you more, he changes how you think. Money is a tool, not a god, not an enemy, a tool. And tools only work for people who know how to use them.
How do people keep simple accounting for their expenditure and income so that they can have financial balance and financial accounting for the month?
Okay, so you see that question is from a place of laziness. All right. Oh, accounting is so confusing. Okay, they have books, Accounting for Dummies. Go and buy it. You will understand. But you know what? You don't even need any major accounting. What do you need? How much do you earn? 100,000 naira. Write it down. How much do I need? Transportation to work. How many days of the week, of a month, do I go to work? 22 days. How much is transportation to work and back? Calculate it. This is my transport cost. Do I eat lunch at work every day? Yes. Okay. How much do I need for lunch every day? 1,000 naira times 22 days. You calculate what it is. But if your salary is 100,000, can you afford 1,000 naira for lunch every day? There will be no pot of soup in your house. No. Let's. You see, all you need to do is sit down and evaluate your life. Write all the markers down. When you've done all that, deduct it from, don't forget to deduct your title. It's an investment. Because people forget, it's a divine investment. So put it down in your cost. In fact, it should be the first thing that you put there. So you're working on 90. When you put it all down, you will know what is left. If at the end you have 22,000 left, then you can decide what percentage of my income do I want to go into my investment account every month. 5,000, 10,000, it's your call. Make the call and put it there. And then you set up a direct debit to make sure that money goes. Now, when your friend comes and says, oh, my friend is getting married, we went to university together, very good. She chose Ashwebi, everything together comes to 30,000 naira. Who did they invite? It's you. Did they invite Ashwebi to the wedding? So, you know what? The thing is, if you don't plan, you remember that scripture. Who is it that will plan to build a house who does not first count the cost? When you have done that simple accounting, when they ask you, you don't even have to think twice. You can already say to your friend, I love you, I want to support you, I will be at the wedding, but I cannot afford it. I'm not buying, but I will be at the wedding. And you see, the thing is, why do people put themselves under pressure to do it? You want to impress other people. The day you are naked because of poverty, those people will not remember you. So do not suffer yourself for people that they're momentary in their appreciation. If you plan for yourself, the day you become wealthy because you are more organized than them, they will all beg to be your friends. Don't deceive yourself. You know, when I started my business, sir, for 4 years, I didn't have a car. I was doing good business. By the time I bought my first car, I was in 1994, 93. I started in 89. By 93, which was my 4th year, I was already doing a turnover of 150 million naira in 1994. No, don't clap. We waste time with clapping. When I decided I was then going to buy a car, I went to buy a used car. What did I do in those 4 years? I will go to meeting in banks and everything. What will I do? Charter a taxi. How much am I paying? It's per hour. The hours I'm using the taxi is what I pay for. When I'm not using it, if the car breaks down on the road, whose problem is it? I do not have a budget for mechanic, for driver, and all of that. I have budget for ride per hour. I've sectionalized my cost to the last minute. When I will buy a car, I could afford a brand new car. I already told you I was already doing 150,000 turnover. But I could not buy it. Even though I could afford it in cash, I really could not afford it. Why could I not afford it? I was in a manufacturing business that required machinery. It was the time and the season when girls like me, this was a young girl, nobody was going to borrow me money. I was a young business. Nigerian banks were not serving my age group then. It was only multinational and big companies they were serving. So I knew that. So I could only grow in my business organically, which meant I had to retain all my resources in my business. So when I was going to buy a car, I was not trying to impress anybody. I bought a used car. Shebi is to move from point A. What is a car? A tool. To move from point A to point B. That's all. A taxi did the same for me. Meanwhile, in those 4 years when I was doing that, I was buying machines. When I bought the used car, I used most of the money to also buy machines, in fact, I almost gave my father a heart attack. Because at a point, I was so distressed with the fact that I had opportunities I couldn't take because I didn't have the machineries to do it. And then one of my clients saw me one day, saw I was miserable. But the man liked me because he had 3 daughters. And he kept thinking, you're a girl. I like the way your dynamic energy, that I want my daughters to be like you. So I became his first child. So he saw me and said, why? You're not yourself today. I said, I'm miserable because, no matter how hard I work, I cannot achieve my targets because I don't have the right equipment. I have jobs I can't take. So the man said, follow me. I went to his office and he said to me, okay, how much do you need? I needed ₦1 million in 1993. The man said to me, is there a finance house that will stand for you? I said yes. Why did I say yes? Every time I needed to do a job that I couldn't afford, I went to a finance house to take a 30 days or 90 days money, used it for the project, returned their money, paid their very expensive interest, and did the job, took my profit. And I kept doing that, so I had a good track record with them. Your yesterday will speak in your tomorrow. Just remember that. So do the right thing always. So when that man asked me that, you see, your preparation will get in the way of your future if you're not prepared for it. I said yes. So I went to that finance house and said to them, I have this offer. The man wants to give you this 1 million as a deposit. You will issue him a BA, but you will give it to me. You will charge me the interest and capital every 90 days. I will return part of the capital and part of the interest to you. You pay him his own interest on the money. And they had a management fee on it. I was desperate, so I took it. I set them up together. They sorted it out. I got the 1 million. I went around Nigeria, looked for factories that were closing down in furniture manufacturing. I bought their used machines, refurbished, took them into my factory, moved us to a bigger factory, and then I went after big jobs.
Wow, this is powerful because if your mindset is broken, even if money enters your hand, it won't stay. This is why some people win the lottery and end up broke again. Mindset didn't change.
But it was the time that finance houses crashed in Nigeria. Interest rates were between 42% and 70%. Yes, I don't know if anybody remembers. Yes, it was that season. It was crazy. But every 90 days, I was paying and I was working like crazy. When I finished that job, when they paid me the balance, I went to them in the finance house. Please, how much do I need to pay off this money? Trust me, 15 months after, I still had 942,000 naira to pay. Yes, because of interest rates. I took all the money they paid me, went to them, paid off the loan, had no money but owned a factory with machines. I worked within that period to do it. Your discipline for today will support your wealth for tomorrow. And learning to understand delayed gratification is critical to wealth building. Don't try and impress anybody. Focus on your goals. So at that point, my peers that were coming out of university and youth corps like me, that went to work in the bank, they could get a Daewoo car, they got big fat salaries, but I was busy running around trying to build a factory. Well, the reality is, 25 years down the line, I joined the board of First Bank. 5 years after that, I became the chairman of First Bank. First female and only female at that point till today. But a lot of those my colleagues that I'm talking about, they're nowhere near where I got. So your journey is nobody else's journey. Focus on your own. Do the part that you can. They might run 10,000 miles. Everybody's speed is different. Just do your own. Don't try and impress anybody. In building wealth, be disciplined about your own journey. Yes, sir.
That is an opportunity for you to clap. I will pause for 1 minute and allow you to clap.
Clapping
For 1 minute
my
and
waist
allow
time.
you 1 minute. Just 1
Clapping.
minute. Thank you, man.
Okay.
Okay, so we have people from all over, from Germany, from US, from Canada, from right now. So what it is that for the people in diaspora, would you say it's good idea to invest in Nigeria real estate rather than in countries where they currently reside?
You know, I like it when the Nigerians who go abroad are still looking at opportunities in Nigeria. Because if you really understand some of the data that the central bank releases, many times repatriated funds by Nigerians in diaspora outweighs our income. I'm fine, thank you. It beats our income from oil. So that's why when people complain, oh, Nigerian skills are moving abroad, there are 220 million of us. I don't care, we can ship 50 million if they want. They should give us their territory to make money as long as the money comes back to make Nigeria great. We're an exportable asset, our people. Some countries have that as a whole strategy. It's just that our government has not understood it to make the right investment and create the right structure. That is the truth. It's actually an exportable asset. Now, for those of you who are there, you want to invest in Nigeria. If you know what you are doing and you're organized about it, the return on investment that you can get in Nigeria, you can never get in the economies where you live. That is the truth. Let me tell you something. Yesterday I said I've been in some board meeting for the past 2 days. Okay. All the money that fund is giving out is from international funds from around the world. Why do you think they put their money in Africa? The highest return, even though they talk about the risk, the reality is our risk is based on perception. You must go and understand how country risk is calculated. Perception is such a huge part of it. Unfortunately, there's a huge perception issue with Nigeria that is very far from reality. Every time I'm on the plane, and I live on the plane, trust me, most of the people in business and first class are who? They're white people. Coming to do business where? What are they coming to do? If there's nothing good here. Think, ask yourself. When you go around, I remember one day, one of my factories is joint venture with the largest French manufacturer of office seating. So when I was going to bring them to Nigeria, they had all this panic mode. All their neighbors would be watching TV about Nigerian news to tell them. So I told the guy who was working with me on it, I said, just come to Nigeria and you can come and see my country before I have to be explaining what I don't need to explain every day. Oh, we have problems. Don't doubt that. But every other country has problems. America has problems right now. So let's not talk about that. But we ourselves, we use our mouth to destroy our country. I told the guy, come. I will be at the airport to receive you. When he came, I took him around some of our projects in Lagos. They could see their furniture there. I then took him to Abuja and went to show him. Then there were a lot of buildings under construction. I said, you see all these buildings? There will be office furniture that will go inside. It's either yours or it's somebody else's. So you make the choice. Then in the afternoon, I said, let's have lunch at the Hilton before we go to Lagos. We go and catch our flight. When we got to the hotel, you know, God has a sense of humor. When we got to the Hilton, there was a long table of women having lunch. They were all French women. He could hear them speaking, so he knew they were French. He said, oh, those are French women. I said, oh, yes, they are. That their husbands are somewhere all around Abuja making money. They are having fun, enjoying their life. The guy looked at me. I said, so you want to believe CNN or you want to understand that there are realities on ground? Just ask yourself. So you live there. Yes, there are risks with your investment in Nigeria, but it means you must be prudent, you must be diligent, and you must make the right choices. If you invest in properties, the return on asset for your property, you cannot get it where you are. Now, the next question I know you are going to ask me is, what about exchange rate? Exchange rate varies. It's about the time and the season. But you know what? If it's an asset like a building, you make no losses until you sell it, and you make no losses except you are changing that money back to FX at that moment in time. So it's really that you have to understand the system. Don't be sending money to your uncle to help you buy land and build a house that you might never find a house built or anything. You know, if you are really going to invest in property in this day and age, there are enough property developers who are building assets that you must know how to invest in. Then, you know, the thing about property is, there's a shortage of housing in Nigeria today, but most people do not understand where that shortage is. So you live abroad. Maybe before you travel, you used to live in the Lekki axis. So that's all you see as value. Okay. But investment is demand driven. You have to know where the need is to know where to put your money. The need for housing in like Lagos is not in Lekki and VI or Ikoyi. Why? There's oversupply. There are many empty houses, blocks of apartments in that axis. And they're overpriced. So they're there. If you go, what are the needs that people have? Room, what do they call them? Self-contained, 1 room, 2 bedroom, 3 bedrooms. And where is the highest need? On the mainland. It's not on the island. But most people don't do their homework. So the fact that you want to live on the island, must your investments be after your pattern? It's an investment. It's not you that will live there. If you build Face Me, I Face You, is it about you or about the economics of that investment? So what you need to do is think. What kind of investment are you making? Where are the real needs? What kind of rent does it command? And how can you manage the asset? People tend to define investment by what they like. It's like women who do business. You want to sell bags. Okay, you like designer bags. All right. But you live in Surulere. Then you open a shop on somewhere in Surulere. And you put Louis Vuitton, Gucci, and everything. The day you open, you make money. Why? It's your friends you invited to the opening. They're like you. They will buy it, and so you'll be deceived into thinking that you have the right model. Then for the next 6 months, people will come in. They will like it. They will carry it. Then they will go next door and buy the copy. Why? Because their pockets they like it, so your shop is aspirational, but their reality is in the shop that is selling the Chinese copy. Or even better, they buy the Turkish copies because they're higher quality. So we need to harmonize those things. You can invest in Nigeria. The return on investment, you can only dream of it. There are funds that are set up in Europe. I work in multiple platforms that have investments come into Africa. And what they're looking for is the return. The return you can command in Africa, there are few places in the world where you can get it. We're an emerging economy. The opportunities are still there. The growth potential is there. The returns are there, but you must manage well, and you must understand what you're doing, and you must do your homework and find the right ways to put your money at work.
Great. Thank you very much.
If this message blessed you, subscribe, like, share, and comment on Manifest Grace TV.